It's where the good Lord talks to me. Can never trade it in, 'cause we've been through some valleys, but I feel closest to heaven when I'm riding in my 87 Chevy.
Rhett, I don't know if I told you the story. Back when I was kind of in high school, actually it was after my senior year going in, I was an apprentice at this HVAC shop there, and I had this 85 Chevy that they gave me. Like, that thing was literally as old as I was.
Yeah.
We were kindred spirits. But here's a 17-year-old kid that was given this 85 Chevy because I was the only one that could drive stick, and it was the roughest stick shift that you could imagine. And so here you have all these grown men that were doing their thing, and here's a 17-year-old kid with this truck as old as he is, running around the city, doing furnaces, ACs, whatever. And I mean, it was high class when they put in the CD player. I mean, back when they had CDs, like you actually had to put in.
Yep.
And so you had basically one thing to listen to other than the radio. And that was the summer of, I think it was Jimmy Eat World's Bleed American.
Oh my gosh.
That was the soundtrack to my summer that year.
Yes. It's a good soundtrack to a summer.
Anytime that comes on, like, it just takes me back. Like, there's this 85 Chevy, just a 17-year-old kid in a truck as old as he is running around town.
I learned to drive stick in a truck. And it was, I worked on a farm one summer, and I had to take a bunch of sheet metal to another location of farm all the way across town. And they were like, haul all of this over there. Man. And I got in that truck, and it was a stick, and I was like, Jesus, please let this be downhill all the way to this place. And I remember the first thing that happened when I got on the road was it was a hill and a stoplight, and I was stuck on it. And that was the scariest moment of my life. I was like, please don't stall out, don't fall backwards. You got a trailer full of sheet metal, like, Lord, go before me. But 85 Chevy, that's a good truck, man.
Yeah, it was a solid truck. It lasted. It did everything that it needed to do for me. I mean, there's just something about them mid-'80s trucks that was just, I mean, if you're on the Chevy Ford debate, whatever, like, it has to be that 85 Chevy. That mid-'80s Chevy is where it's at.
The square body was the best looking truck.
Yeah.
When I set out to write this song, I was looking at an 87 Chevy. And I've had a few trucks over my life, and I've got one in Nashville. It's still there floating around, and it was a 98 Chevy. And I think it hit right at like 380,000 miles on that thing.
Wow.
And it's still going. But the 87 was my favorite, and I just loved the way it looked, and I loved the way it drove, and I loved driving it. And I was thinking about trucks, because I think about trucks way too often.
Not the Roman Empire, the trucks.
Yeah. So, you're either thinking about the Roman Empire or you're thinking about trucks. And, that's about as simple as a dude's mind really is. Like, right now I added football to that during this season. But I was thinking about this 87 Chevy, and I was born in 87, and kind of was thinking about, like, looking at life through that windshield of that Chevy, and also looking through, like, my own lens, my own windshield being my eyes. And man, so I wrote this song just kind of simply about that. Like, I put a lot of miles on it. There's a lot of rust. It's a little beat up, but thank the Lord that He's always guided my steps. And, we brought babies home in that truck, and me and my wife got stuck in that truck and dating, and it's like, just looking at life through the windshield of that truck and kind of seeing, like, where it's led me to now, it's crazy.
Yeah. And I didn't pick up any chicks in my 85 Chevy, just saying. Like, that was just not a thing in mine. There were no dates, there were no babies. It was strictly a work truck.
Dude, the first date I took my wife on was frog gigging. That was the first date I took her on.
That is the most Georgia Southern thing I've ever heard of.
I don't think she expected it. To me, you get out of that 87 Chevy. Like, just let me set the picture for you real quick. You get out of that truck. The stars are out. It's moonlight. You're getting a little john boat out, go out in a little pond under the moon. How romantic is this? Like, I'm surprised she wasn't like, marry me right now, And you're quiet. You hear the crickets, and you see the big old frog, and she was my spotlight girl, so she put the spotlight on it, and then bam! I hit it with the pitchfork. throw it in the bag, get her to step on the bag so it don't hop out. You get back to the bank, you got a meal.
Yeah.
It's like dinner and a date under the moon and the stars. That's why she married me, pretty much.
It has to be.
That's the only reason I can come to.
And if we ever doubted that Rhett Walker as a Southern boy,
Yeah.
I think that just solidified it right there.
Yeah. I don't think anybody's ever doubted.
Well, especially not with that.
No, not with that. I'll take, I'll go frog gigging with anybody. That's my favorite thing to do. I did learn that you can't use a gig in Louisiana when you go frog gigging. You have to catch them with your hand. I went with some of the Duck Dynasty peeps, and we were they're hitting gators with paddles to move them so we could jump off. And I was like, well, you can't like wimp out now, especially in front of them. So I was diving in, dude, into the swampy bayou, like with gators to get frogs. But yeah, man, I mean, this song is the story of that, all like the culmination of 36 years here on earth. And it gets to the point in the bridge where it's like one of my favorite lines that's ever been a part of one of my songs. And it's like, not long from now, I'll be handing down these Silverado keys. And it says, I hope the good years give them all the good years they gave to me.
Nice.
And I was just like, when we came up with that line, I was like, this is so witty and such a brilliant line, but it hits so hard because it's like, I've got 2 kids driving now, and my oldest, 18, she's been driving, and a fresh 16-year-old boy that's driving around and drives the Sonic to post up for girls, just like, hey.
Like you do in Georgia, or like small town Georgia, I should say.
Oh yeah, dude, you just roll up to Sonic and just post up in front of your car. It's like, hey.
It's either cruising
I'll
the main
buy you
streets.
some mozzarella sticks, girl. I've got $2. I ain't afraid to throw it around. And it's that old saying, like, you don't relive your life. You can look back in the rearview mirror at the good things that's happened through life, but it's like, man, I wish I could learn to drive again. Like, I remember those days, and I remember picking up April. And was your dad pretty hard?
If my mom watches this, it's gonna be.
Is it your mom?
Oh, it was my mom.
Yep.
She was the. Oh my gosh.
Oh, dude, I think that's their thing. Like April, she'll be riding in the car with me in my truck and driving down the road and like look up from her phone for like she's been on her phone the entire drive, and it'll look up and grab the handles like, there's a stop sign up there. Like, yeah, it's been there for 20 years and it's 400 feet in front of us.
I was driving with my mom just a few weeks ago, and she's like, do you want me to act like? I'm like, no, we'll leave those years behind us. I don't want to relive that.
My son, like, he loves riding with me or hates it. There's no in between, because he's like, you stress me out when you ride with me, and I'm like, you stress me out when you drive. Like, but thankfully, I've got, my kids can drive well, and they're good. Next up is I got a 10-year-old and then a 5-year-old, so I've got a little break in the driving world and a little break in buying cars, which is nice.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, I hope people hear this song. Well, another thing is, this is a song for me that's not like just another super vertical, like for a radio song. Like, I wrote this song kind of for me, and just had to get it out and put it pen to paper. And it's one of those things that's like, man, I hope people hear this song and they're like, they relive, not like they're reliving the glory days, but they relive those moments where they're like, man, I remember this. I remember this date. I remember getting in my truck and driving that one night and just talking with God or arguing with God. Or there's some songs you write for your career. There's some songs you write for the church. There's some songs you write for, this addiction or this thing you've walked through. Some things are very specific to where they're going. And I think I wrote this song for me, And if people, hear it and it resonates with them, that's what I hope. But it's like, man, this is my life. I was born in '87. My favorite truck's an '87 Chevy. And I just get to tell the story of my life through it, you know? And also maybe Chevy will be like, hey, Rhett, we got an 87 Chevy we would like to give you for this song, you know? Not that that's what's about Chevrolet. It's not about that at all. But if you're watching this, Mr. Chevy, I would love an 87 Chevy again.
Yeah, we're totally gonna get sponsored by this video. I can feel it.
Oh, 100%. You're getting it. I feel like it's about to be Oprah style. You get a Chevy. You get a Chevy. And by that, just me and Jake. That's it. Like, don't worry about anybody else. It's 2 trucks. What's that to Chevy?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, what's that to them?
And when we wake up from our nap, dreaming about the new Chevy that we're gonna get,
We're like, oh yeah, back to my Chevy that I have.
Never traded in 'cause we've been through some valleys, but I feel closest to heaven when I'm riding in my 87 Chevy. My 87 Chevy.
You know what this feels like?
what's that?
Life's like a box of chocolates.
Oh my God, you forgot the chocolates.
We're just sitting. I thought you were bringing chocolate.
God, we missed the
Every
text.
time we get together, we forget the chocolates.
Oh my gosh.